Alright, so you know what, people, I've been thinking. On my channel, I like to call myself an Orlando Magic optimist. I like the team. I feel like they have a lot of talent. But I feel like this is the year in which they're going to make real noise in the NBA. Now, I feel like a lot of fans around the league recognize they have talent, recognize they have like a decent squad they're putting together, but don't understand how good this team actually can be and would be if they're all fully healthy. And I believe this is their year to blossom into that playoff team and make noise throughout the Eastern Conference. Now, it's not going to be one of them videos where I'm like, oh yeah, the Magic have 5 young players, or how many young players, some of them going to their second, third year, it's time for them to have a breakout year. Nah, I'm going to give my reasons why I feel like they will, and also moves that Jeff Weltman's done that indicates that's the direction the franchise are going in. But before I get into that, make sure you like the video, subscribe, share, all that stuff there. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. So where should I start? You know what, let's start off boring. The signing of Joe Ingles. So I feel like that was a vital indication showing the direction Jeff Weltman is going in, because Joe Ingles is a guy who has great leadership and has been around the block for many years now. At this point in his career, I don't know how many minutes Joe Ingles can play for you. He's a good 3-point shooter. At this point in his career, don't expect him to be relocating, running around 10 screens, getting open, but he does have some sort of, I wouldn't say self-creation, but every now and again you might see Joe Ingles pull out a step back 3, but he's a viable floor spacer I think this team lacks. And overall, like I said, he's a veteran who knows a lot about this league. Now, paying a guy Joe Ingles around $11 million a year, you don't just do for no reason. Like I said, I don't know how many minutes he'll be playing at this point in his career, but the stuff he brings to the team is invaluable. The leadership, holding guys accountable, and overall being that guy on the court is going to stand up for your team. Now, Joe Ingles is a guy, if you didn't know, who has a reputation of being very chirpy on the court. He's the first guy, if there's an altercation, you'll see Joe Ingles in the other team's face, and he's that kind of guy who's going to bring that fire to the team. That's the kind of vet you need, in my opinion, to, you know, make a playoff run or obviously break into them playoff spots. Because like I said, Joe Ingles is a guy who's been on many competitive teams. He's been with the Lob City Clippers, he's been with the Utah Jazz during their championship window, he's been with the Milwaukee Bucks, I believe the Trailblazers whilst he was hurt. So this is a guy who's definitely been on many spots and he's played with superstars like D. Mitch, Rudy Gobert at one point, you know, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, the Giannis, the list goes on. So he can help a guy like Paolo, Franz, to be like, look, I've played with these players here. This is what it takes to win and get to that next level. This is the kind of work and work ethic these guys put in, and you can kind of get in the ear and help these guys to elevate and reach their full potential. So that's one thing. You don't pay a guy like Joe Ingles just to stink. Like, no. You pay a guy like Joe Ingles with the intention of progressing into becoming a playoff team for not only what he can give you on the court, but the invaluable leadership he can give you off the court, off the bench, and almost being that second voice to your coach. You know, Jamal Mosley, I feel like, gets a lot of stick. I feel like he's a good up-and-coming coach. Sometimes his rotations are a bit shaky, you know what I mean? But that's me sidetracking. Overall, I feel like Joe Ingles can be a second voice to Jamal Mosley, another leader on and off the court. Now, that's the boring stuff out of the way. So that's one move Jeff Weltman made, which definitely made me think, okay, they're trying to make that push. Also, the roster last season alone would have been a playoff team and fully healthy. Now, if you didn't know, after the All-Star break, I believe they're one of the best defenses in the entire NBA. And as a whole, they went on a really good run of games, picking up a few wins, some vital wins as well against big teams. So it's a thing where it's like, this Magic team weren't just winning games here and there. They were genuinely defeating high-level playoff contending teams. So you can see the talent was there. It was all about them piecing it together. Obviously, the more basic level of this is, or basic layer, I should say, is that you've got Paolo going into his second year, Wendell, I believe, going into year 4 or 5, Markelle going into, I believe, year 5 or 6. So you've got a lot of guys with more NBA experience that are hopefully going to develop in the right way. I feel like one of the key points to this is Markelle Fultz, because I believe he can genuinely develop into being, believe it or not, in my opinion, an all-star level point guard. I'm not saying he's going to make the all-star game, but he showed me signs that as soon as he gets a few games under his belt, he really gets into his groove and he controls the tempo of this team. Now, Markelle is not going to be a guy that's going to average 27 and 7. I'm not saying that, but I feel like if Markelle stays healthy, which is a fingers crossed thing, Markelle can be a guy who can give you 15 and 8. 15 points and 8 assists. And I'm not saying that it's all about stats and numbers, because it's not. Because the way I quantify Markelle Fultz's impact is the way he gets the offense set, them sort of hockey assists, and overall, like, just watching the game, you can see how much better the Magic's offense look with Markelle on the court. Like, to the untrained eye, I'm not going to call you like a casual or nothing, but everyone has different opinions, but in my opinion, it's so clear when you see Markel off the court, on the court where Markel's not playing. It's easy to see the way guys are kind of like sometimes rushing shots, taking shots early in the shot clock, overall bad possessions. And those bad possessions are significantly less than when a guy like Fultz is on the court. You've heard Paolo emphasize how much Fultz makes the game easier for him, and other guys on the roster say that too. But I genuinely believe like if he stays healthy, then you're really going to see his impact. The biggest thing with this team is finding a rhythm. Like at one point, or with the Magical, like they're finding a rhythm, then a key player like Markel goes down, Wendell goes down, that kind of thing happens. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen this season, because continuity is this team's biggest problem in my opinion, because they start finding a groove, then bang, a guy gets hurt. So it's a thing where it's like, okay, cool, it's going to be a stroke of guys getting better, but also luck, because the team has the talent in my opinion. I can't touch on every player for time's sake, but again, Franz is one of the most underlooked players in the entire NBA. Like, it's a shame that unless you actually watch the Magic, you realize how good Franz Wagner is. But I'm telling you right now, the guy has literally no holes in his game. Okay, cool, is he elite at just one thing? I'd say no, but if you actually like keying on his game, he is a high-level finisher around the rim. His ability to cut back door, overall just get to the rim and finish at high level, something which really gets underlooked. And it's a thing where he doesn't do nothing flashy. Like, Franz is a guy who has quiet 25 bombs. You're like, damn, Franz had 25. Or some games to me, I feel like Franz is about 40, but he just had like fucking 10 layups. He has like 30 points. But it's a thing where I feel like he's so efficient in getting to his spots, and he just plays within his strengths to the point where he's such an efficient component to this offense, in which he can help this team elevate in so many ways and overall win more games, because I believe he still has another gear to reach. You know, as overall 3-point shot creator, he's already a decent 3-point shooter. I believe he can elevate to more of a 39% level 3-point shooter, and he has more levels to his offensive bag, as well as being a plus defender on the defensive side. I feel like Franz has a lot to add to this team. So him in year 3 is going to be a very interesting and scary sight, because he's a guy already, like I said, minimal holes in his game. Imagine how much better he can become if he tones those things and gets even better at the things he's good at now. So Franz is a guy I'm definitely looking out for. Obviously, I feel like Paolo again, you know, he had a few slumps in his rookie season where he went through terrible shooting streaks from 3, or overall it felt like the game wasn't coming naturally to him. He was forcing up shots sometimes, but I feel like Paolo is going to realize, like, look, he knows what spots he can get to now. He knows how physically dominant he can be, and obviously a year under his belt with NBA experience and overall working on his game is going to prove very beneficial to Paolo, because I feel like he has superstar level potential. I've never understood where the Paolo kind of like pushback has come from. I feel like he had one of the most dominant rookie seasons we've seen in a while. Like, I don't see guys coming in the first year averaging like 20-7. Like, Paolo really marked his stamp on the NBA and showed that he's going to be a formidable force going forward. So I don't really see a problem there, but I definitely feel like, again, you've got so many guys who could reach that next gear, and even if they don't and carry on from last season with just the continuity, this team's going to be knocking on the door for playoff spots. And geez, like, if these guys actually develop the way I anticipate them, it's going to be a scary sight. Obviously, the additions in the draft of Anthony Black and Jet Howard, I don't know how much I think a guy like Anthony Black is going to play. It would be good seeing him like look under a guy like Markel Fultz, and if he shows signs in his rookie season, who knows if Fultz is even going to be there beyond next season. But the point is that I feel like Anthony Black's game offensively is still so raw, and he's more of like a guy who can contribute now, but more of a long-term project, to the point where I wouldn't throw him into the fire so quickly. But Jet Howard's a guy I'm going to really look out for. He might not be playing 35 minutes, he might be playing 20 off the bench, but I feel like what Jeff Welton was looking for is not just a guy who can space the floor, but a guy who can space the floor, be a shot creator, and overall get to his spots. The thing that surprised me about Jet Howard is how sharp his handle is. Like, he can get to his spots over a couple of moves. It can be as simple as a crossover, step back, bang. He's created enough space and has a decent look at the rim, decent 3, you know what I mean? But it's a thing where it's like, I like the idea, because you can have, okay, with a 3-point shooter, you can have so many types. You can have a guy who's just proficient off the catch, like a Danny Green. You've got a guy like JJ Redick who's proficient off the catch, can relocate. And then you have guys like Desmond Bane who can do the lot, you know, shoot off the catch, relocate, move off the ball, create his own shot. So I can kind of see the idea behind Jet Howard. Obviously, he's not the same type of player as Desmond Bane. He's bigger, taller, not the same play style. But again, I saw Jeff going for a guy who can create his shot in a multitude of ways and be a 3-point threat in a multitude of ways. So I really like the addition of Jet Howard, and overall having another dimension, because obviously Caleb Houston might not have showed the signs we wanted in Summer League, but he's still a guy I believe can break the rotation at some point whilst being a viable 3-point shooter, because that is his strength. But Jet Howard's a guy who, yeah, he's actually a scorer. Like, he can actually create his own shot at a decent level, and I project that to becoming like at a high level at some point. So, you know, that's kind of just me cramping together the things I like about this roster. Obviously, I can't talk about everyone. I barely spoke about Wendell Carter. You know, I barely spoke about a guy like Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs. But those are even more guys who, you know, I have a lot of anticipation for, but the minutes aren't going to be there for everyone. These are all guys who are showing signs. I'm waiting for a breakout year, especially Jalen Suggs. That guy pisses me the hell off. Like, he shows signs of really breaking out to the guy they thought we were getting out of Gonzaga. But at the same time, he has games where offensively, he's just not the best. But one bright spot about Jalen Suggs is his defense. Gosh, I can see him developing into an all-NBA. I mean, all defensive type defender, because on the perimeter, yeah, he's really that guy. But I definitely see an avenue where this team just blossoms because they have the lot. They've got a good mix of defenders. Markel's defense goes very under alert. They've got a good sense of guys who can apply rim pressure. They've got a lot of size. I say that one down spot could be 3-point floor spacing, but again, I would try and bank on guys improving in that aspect, and also Jet Howard adding another dimension to your team. But yeah, I like the direction it's going in, and in my opinion, Jeff Weltman's a guy who I like. I think he likes the way the roster's looking, but if it comes like trade deadline, the team is maybe an 8-7 seed and the guy becomes available, he will definitely pull the plug and make that trade to make the team better, because I feel like the Magic are in that spot right now where you might want to ride out the season, see where the core gets you and see where the team gets you. Then the following years when you start making them moves, not win now moves, but moves which really like maybe elevate you to genuine contention or being a solid playoff team. So I feel like there's a lot of angles this team could go into, like explore, but just based off what they have like for next year and what they showed me last year, I'd be very surprised if this team did not make the playoffs, because just watching this team play, I saw games where they'd walk into Miami, they'd walk into Boston, TD Garden, and you can just see, damn, this team has so much potential. Well, obviously it's about piecing that potential together and overall building a cohesive unit that's going to be able to compete in the NBA, especially in the Eastern Conference. But I feel like the Magic have all the tools to do so. But enough of me rambling. Only time will tell if the Magic are actually capable of this. Like I said, the biggest thing with them is definitely health, and that's a big if. But if all goes well, I definitely see the pieces on this roster suggesting that, okay, cool, they can make some noise next season. But overall, guys, in the comment section down below, let me know if you guys agree with me, disagree, and what you think about my opinions on the Magic. I genuinely feel like this is their year to kind of put guys on notice and show them that, look, we're going to be that next team. We're going to be that next Oklahoma City Thunder to make some noise and prove we can be a playoff team. But that's all I got for this video today. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to like the video, share, subscribe, all that stuff there. But yeah, that's me gone. Stay blessed, my people, and I'm out. Peace.